Hi everyone, and welcome to today's tutorial. We're making the cutest crochet romper, perfect for baby girls and boys. The one we're going to make in the tutorial is for 3 to 6 months, but you can easily make it smaller or bigger from a newborn size and up to 3 to 4 years old. In the information box below, I'll go ahead and leave you some information on how you can easily make it smaller or bigger, so be sure to check that out. And as always, if you prefer a written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop up here on the right hand side and in the information box below. Thank you so much for your support. Now to make this cute romper, overalls, or bodysuit, this is the yarn that I used. This is DK weight yarn, but you can also use any number 3 yarn or 8 ply. For the 3 to 6 month size, you're going to need a total of 160 grams. I used 142 grams in pink and about 18 grams in white. You will need less or more depending on the size that you make. You will also need 4 buttons. These buttons are 14 millimeter size, but you can also use 15 or 13 millimeter size. And remember, at the end of the tutorial, I always leave you the finished measurements. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe, activate the notifications bell, and remember, all of my tutorials are always in English and in Spanish. Thanks so much for watching. To begin, I'll be using this 3.5 millimeter crochet hook, and today I'm using this DK weight yarn. Now you can also use any number 3 yarn or 8 ply. At the beginning of the video, I showed you the yarn that I'm using, and I told you how much yarn we're going to need for the size that we're making. So here, to begin, I have my chain ready. I have a total of 54 chains. Now this chain, without stretching, it's measuring about 29 centimeters, which is about 11 inches. Now, if your chain is off by 1 or 2 centimeters, it's okay. Continue with the first row. Beginning into the 4th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, into this 4th chain, make a double crochet. Now, these 3 chains here at the beginning count as 1 double crochet. I have 2 in total. I'm going to make 7. So into the next chain, make a double crochet, that's 3. Into the next, a double crochet, that's 4. 5, 6, 7. There, I have 7 double crochets. This is going to be the first front panel, so including the 3 chains, I have 7. Now to make the first corner, I'm going to chain 1. Now for the first sleeve, I'm going to have 12 double crochets. So into the next chain, make a double crochet. Now, before we continue, I recommend you place a stitch marker here to mark the corners. I'm going to do this at the end. Now, into the next chain, make another double crochet. So that's 2. Like I said, for the sleeves, I need to make 12. So that's 3, 12. There, I have 12 double crochets. This is going to be for the first sleeve. Now to make the second corner, chain 1. Now into the next chain, make a double crochet. For the back side, I need to make a total of 14. So that's 1, 14. There, I have 14 double crochets. This is going to be the back side. Now for the third corner, chain 1. Into the next chain, make a double crochet. And here I'm going to make a total of 12 double crochets for the second sleeve. You're going to continue and make these 12 double crochets. Once you have the 12 double crochets, you're going to chain 1 for the 4th corner and finish here with 7 double crochets for the second front panel. And that's how we're going to work the first row. I already showed you this part where I did 7 double crochets, including the 3 chains. Chain 1 for the first corner, then we did 12 double crochets for the first sleeve, chain 1 for the second corner, and then 14 double crochets for the back side, and then chain 1 for the third corner, and now we're going to make 12 double crochets for the second sleeve. Then you're going to chain 1 for the fourth corner and finish here with 7 double crochets for the second front panel. So continue, finish this first row. I'll meet you at the end. I finished the first row. Now at the end of this row, I have a total of 52 double crochets. Here at the beginning, we started with 54 chains. Into the fourth chain from the hook, I did my first double crochet. The 3 chains here, like I said, count as your first stitch. So for the front panel here, I have a total of 7 double crochets. Then I chained 1 for the first corner. After that, I did a total of 12 double crochets for the first sleeve, chain 1 for the second corner. Then I made 14 double crochets for the back side, chain 1 for the third corner. Then I did 12 double crochets for the second sleeve, chain 1 for the fourth corner, and finished here with 7 double crochet. Now for row 2, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. Now from here on, these 2 chains will never count as a stitch. They're just there so that when we finish the yoke, it's nice and straight. Now to begin here, beginning on top of the first double crochet, I'm going to go through both loops here on top of the first double crochet, and I'm going to make a double crochet. Now for the remaining double crochets, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the back loop only. So let me show you. Here for this front panel, I'm going to make 7 in total. So I already have 1. The first stitch, we always go through both loops. The remaining ones, we go through the back loop only. So that's 2. Seven. There, I have 7 double crochets. Remove the stitch marker, and in the chain space here, make a V stitch. So that's a double crochet, 1 chain, double crochet in the chain space. Return your stitch marker to mark the first corner here. And now I'm going to continue for the sleeves. I have 12. So starting on top of the first double crochet through the back loop only, I'm going to make my first double crochet. That's 1, 2, 12. There. Now remove the stitch marker for the second corner, and in the chain space, make a V stitch. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, return the stitch marker to mark the second corner, and now you're going to continue and finish the rest of the row. Here you're going to make 1 double crochet on each one of these stitches through the back loop only. This here is the back side, so you're going to make 14, then a V stitch in the third corner, and then for the second sleeve you're going to make 12 double crochets through the back loop only, and then a V stitch in the fourth corner, and then finish here with these last 7 double crochets. I will meet you at the end of this second row. I'm here at the end of the second row. Now here at the end we have the last stitch here. This is the 3 chains. Into the third chain here, insert your hook and make your last double crochet. And this is how I finished the second row. Now at the end of this second row, I have a total of 60 stitches. Each one of the front panels has 8. For the sleeves, I have 14, and for the back side, I have 16. Now for row 3, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, going through both loops here for this first stitch, make a double crochet. For the remaining stitches up to the last stitch, we're going to go through the back loop. The first stitch and the last stitch are the only stitches that we're going to go through both loops. So here, make a double crochet through the back loop. That's 2, 8. There, I have the first corner. Remove the stitch marker, and for each corner you're going to make a V stitch. So make a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. That's how you're going to work each one of the corners. Now for the next section, this is the sleeves. I have 14, so I'm going to make 14 double crochets, making sure to go through the back loop only until I come to the second corner. That's 1, 14. Remove the stitch marker, and in the chain space of this second corner, make a V-stitch. So a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Return the stitch marker to mark the corner, and now you're going to continue and finish the rest of the third row. Here for the back side, you're going to make 16 double crochets, then make the third corner by making a V-stitch, and then the second sleeve. Here I have 14 double crochets, so you're going to make 14, then make the fourth corner and finish here with these last 8 double crochets. I will meet you here at the end, one stitch before I finish, to show you how we're going to finish this third row. I'm here at the end of the third row. Now here at the end, for the last stitch here, go through both loops. The first stitch and the last stitch, we always go through both loops. And this is how I finish the third row. Now at the end of this third row, I have a total of 68 double crochets. Each one of the front panels has 9, each one of the sleeves has 16, and for the back side, I have 18 double crochets. Now for row 4, chain 2 and turn. Now beginning on top of the first double crochet, making sure to go through both loops, I'm going to make the first double crochet. Here I'm going to make 9 double crochets, so through the back loop of the next stitch, make a double crochet. That's 2, 9. Now I have the first corner, remove the stitch marker, and inside this corner here, make a V-stitch. Return the stitch marker to mark the corner, and now continue along for the sleeves and make 16 double crochets. Then you're going to make a V-stitch in the second corner, then work 18 double crochets for the back side and make a V-stitch in the third corner, work 16 double crochets for the second sleeve and make the fourth corner, and finish here with these last 9 double crochets. I will meet you at the end of this fourth row. I'm here at the end of the fourth row. Now to finish this row, here's the last double crochet. Make sure to go through both loops and make your last double crochet there. That's how I finished the fourth row. Now at the end of this fourth row, I have a total of 76 double crochets. Each one of the front panels has 10 double crochets. Each of the sleeves has 18, and for the back side, I have 20. Now for row 5, we're going to repeat the same thing. We're going to chain 2 and turn, beginning on top of the first double crochet, making sure to go through both loops, make your first double crochet, then through the back loop of the next stitch, make a double crochet. That's 2. Now we have a first corner. Now in each one of the corners, you're going to make a V-stitch. So a double crochet, chain 1 double crochet, return the stitch marker. Now you're going to continue and work 1 double crochet for each one of the stitches here for the sleeve. Here for the sleeve, you're going to make 18, then make the second corner, and then the back side, 20 double crochets, then the third corner for the second sleeve, 18 double crochets, then make the fourth corner and finish here with these last 10 double crochets. I will meet you at the end of this fifth row. I finished the fifth row. At the end of this row, I have 84 double crochets. Each one of the front panels has 11 stitches, each of the sleeves has 20, and for the back side I have 22. Now for row 6, we're going to repeat the same thing. Chain 2, turn, beginning on top of the first double crochet through both loops, make the first double crochet. Here I'm going to make 1 double crochet through the back loop only until I come to the first corner. So insert your hook into the next through the back loop, that's 2. We have the first corner, remove the stitch marker, and in the chain space make a V-stitch. Now for the sleeve, on the next stitch make a double crochet through the back loop, and that's how you're going to continue. Here for the sleeve, you're going to make 20, then make the second corner for the back side 22, then make the third corner for the second sleeve, make 20, then the fourth corner, and finish here with these last 11 double crochets. I will meet you at the end of this 6th row. I'm here at the end of the 6th row. At the end of this row, I have a total of 92 stitches. Each of the front panels has 12, each of the sleeves has 22, and for the back side I have 24. So that's a total of 92 double crochets at the end of this 6th row. Now for row 7, we're going to chain 2 and turn. In this row, we're going to work the corners a little bit differently. So let me show you here what we need to do. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet and a double crochet through the back loop until I come to the next corner. Now remove the stitch marker. In this row, each one of the corners will be worked in the following way. You're going to make 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets. And this is how we're going to work each one of the corners. We're not going to be making V-stitches anymore. We're going to be making 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Now continue and work the double crochets here for the sleeve. Here you're going to make 22, then the second corner. For the back side, you're going to make 24, then the third corner. For the second sleeve, 22, then the fourth corner, and finish here at the end with these last 12 double crochets. So go ahead and finish this 7th row. I will meet you at the end. I finished the 7th row. At the end of this row, I have a total of 108 double crochets. Each one of the front panels has 14, each of the sleeves has 26, and for the back side I have 28. That's a total of 108 double crochets at the end of this 7th row. Now for row 8, we're going to repeat the same thing we did in the 7th row. We're going to chain 2, turn, beginning on top of the first double crochet through both loops, make the first double crochet, and then a double crochet through the back loop only, into the next, that's 2, fourteen double crochets for the first front panel. Remove the stitch marker, and in the first corner you're going to make 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets, and that's how you're going to work each corner. Return the stitch marker to mark the corner here, and now you're going to continue and make these 26 double crochets for the first sleeve, and always making sure to go through the back loop. After you finish these 26, you're going to make the second corner in the same way I showed you here. 2 double crochets, 1 chain, 2 double crochets, and then work 28 double crochets through the back loop only for the back side. Then make the third corner, 26 double crochets for the second sleeve, make the fourth corner, and then finish here with these last 14 double crochets. I will meet you at the end of this 8th row. I finished the 8th row. At the end of this 8th row, I have a total of 124 double crochets. Now, each one of the front panels has 16 stitches. Each one of the sleeves has 30, and for the back side, I have 32. Now, the yoke is done for the size that I'm making this for. It's done. This measurement here right across, it's about 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches. Now, what I'm going to do next is we're going to divide the sleeves. Now, one thing before we continue, here, this side here is going to be the right side. That's why I have a stitch marker. So from here on, this is going to be the wrong side. Row 8 was worked on the right side. So now in the next row, row 1 of the body, I'm going to separate the sleeve, and this row is going to be worked on the wrong side. So here, chain 2 and turn. Beginning on top of the first stitch here, make a double crochet, making sure to go through both loops here at the beginning for the first stitch and at the end for the last stitch. Now for the stitches in between, make a double crochet through the back loop only. Here I'm going to make 16 double crochets. That's 3, 16. Remove the stitch marker, and inside this first corner, make 4 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So now for this first front panel, I have 20 double crochets. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Now to separate the first sleeve, chain 4. Here I'm only going to chain 4, but if you want to chain more to add to the chest measurement, you can. There is no stitch multiple, so you can add more chains. Now we're going to skip 30 double crochets, remove the stitch marker, and in the second corner here, make 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, I have separated the first sleeve. Now we're going to continue along the back side. For the back side, we're going to make 32 double crochets, always going through the back loop. So continue, finish making these 32 double crochets for the back side. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to separate the second sleeve. I finished making these stitches for the back side. For the back side, I have a total of 40 double crochets. I did 4 here into this second corner, and then I did 32 double crochets through the back loop, and then in the third corner, I did 4 double crochets, so that for the back side, I have 40 double crochets. Now, to separate the second sleeve, I'm going to chain 4. I'm going to skip these 30 stitches, and into the fourth corner I'm going to make 4 double crochets. There, we have separated the second sleeve. Now I'm going to continue along and finish these last 16 stitches, and I'm going to make sure to always go through the back loop of these stitches. So go ahead, finish this first row. I will meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. I finished the first row of the body. In this row, we have separated the sleeves. At the end of this row, I have 88 stitches. I have 20 stitches for each one of the front panels. For the back side, I have 40, and under each sleeve, I have 4 stitches. So that's a total of 88 stitches at the end of this first row. Now for row 2, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. This second row is going to be worked on the right side. So beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet. Now into each one of the stitches that remain through the back loop, I'm going to make a double crochet. And here I'm just going to make these double crochets until I come to the chains under the sleeves. 20. There, I have these 20 double crochets for the first front panel. Now I have the 4 chains under the sleeve. Here for each chain, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 double crochets for each chain, so that once I finish this part, I'm going to have 8 double crochets under the sleeve. So that's 2 into the next chain. That's 2 into the next chain. 2, and into the 4th chain, 2 double crochets. And now I'm just going to continue along for the stitches here in the back side. For the back side, I have 40, so same thing, through the back loop only, I'm going to make these double crochets. And this is how we're going to work the chains under the sleeve. When you come here under the second sleeve, for the 4 chains here in the first, second, third, and 4th chain, you're just going to make 2 double crochets on each one, and then continue and finish the stitches for the second front panel. I will meet you at the end of this second row. I'm here at the end of the second row. At the end of this row, I have a total of 96 double crochets. Remember to always go through both loops for the first stitch and the last stitch. From here on, we're just going to continue with these 96 stitches. So here for row 3, I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to turn. Beginning on top of the first double crochet, make a double crochet, and into each one of these stitches through the back loop, I'm going to make a double crochet. And this is how I'm going to continue for the rest of the body. Just making 1 double crochet on each stitch. At the end of each row, I'm always going to have 96 double crochets. And that's how we're going to continue. Here at the end, remember to go through both loops at the end, chain 2, turn, and then repeat the same thing. That's how we're going to continue. Now, I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do here for the body, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. I'm almost done with the body. I have done a total of 18 rows. From here, this is the first row. This is where we separated the sleeves. Up to here, the last row, I have a total of 18 rows. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. The last row that I did, row 18, was worked on the right side. Now we're going to continue and make the front panels here, and then we're going to go around the neckline, down the second front panel. After we finish that, we're going to join the front panels, make a couple rows here where I'm going to increase a couple stitches, and then we're going to separate the legs. So far, this part here from the first row up to the last row that I did, row 18, it's measuring about 19.5 centimeters, which is about 7.75 inches. And the total length so far from the top of the neckline to the end of row 18, it's measuring about 29.5 centimeters, which is about 11.5 inches. Now we're going to continue with this side. With this, like this facing me, we're going to go here to the left side. So row 18 was worked on the right side. So now we're going to continue along this front panel. So here to continue, I'm going to chain 1. Now at the end of row 18 here into this space, make 2 half double crochets. At the end of the next row here where I have the 2 chains, make 1. At the end of the next, make 2. 1 half double crochet at the end of the next, and then 2 at the end of the next row. And this is how I'm going to continue to the top here of the yoke. Make sure that these half double crochets are nice and loose. So continue, and I'll meet you up here to show you what we need to do next. I finished making these half double crochets for the first front panel. Now up to here, which is the last row of the yoke, I have 39 half double crochets. I'm going to make 1 more, and I'm going to go here into this chain stitch right there. These are the chains that I had at the beginning. So right there, insert your hook and make 1 last half double crochet. So now I have a total of 40 half double crochets for the front panel. Now If you have 1 or 2 stitches less or more, it's okay. The important thing is that when you do the second front panel, you make the same number of half double crochets. Now to continue with the second row, I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Now beginning on top of the first half double crochet, make a half double crochet. Now into the second one, this one here, make a front post half double crochet. Into the next, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, back post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for the second row, just alternating between front post and back post half double crochets. So continue. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of the second row. This row is being worked on the wrong side. Up to here, this is my last stitch. I have a back post half double crochet. I have 39. Now to finish here at the end, all you're going to do is just make 1 half double crochet on top of the last stitch. And this is how I finish this second row. Now make sure that these half double crochets are nice and loose. So now to make the third row, you're going to chain 1 and turn. Beginning on top of the first stitch, make a half double crochet. Now we're going to work these stitches exactly how they are. This first one here, or the next stitch here, is a front post, so make a front post half double crochet. Next one, back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue. For the third row, I will meet you up here to show you how we're going to work the neckline. I'm here at the end of the third row. Here at the top, on top of the last stitch, make a half double crochet. And here's the third row. I have a total of 40 stitches, so this side here is done. Now one thing, this here is for girls. I'm not going to make any buttonholes here because the spaces in between the rows, like this here, are big enough for buttons to fit through. Continue watching. At the end, when I give you the finished measurements, I will let you know what size buttons I'm going to use. So for girls, you're going to use this side as your buttonholes, and this is where you're going to attach your buttons. For boys, it's the opposite. This is where the buttonholes are going to go, and this is the side that you're going to attach your buttons. That's for boys. So now to continue here, I am going to work the neckline. So here at the end, I'm going to chain 1. Now I have the third row of the front panel in that space. Insert your hook and make a half double crochet. At the end of the next row, make a half double crochet, and at the end of the first row of the front panel, make a half double crochet. So here I have 3 half double crochets. Now I have the next stitch here. This is part of the neckline. I'm going to start with a front post half double crochet here, and then a back post half double crochet into the next. Front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet. This is exactly the same how we worked row 2 and 3 of the front panel. We're just going to alternate between front posts and back post half double crochets all around the neckline. So continue like this. I will meet you here at this other side to show you how we're going to work the second front panel. I'm almost done with the neckline. Now up to here I have 53 half double crochets. This last stitch is a back post. So now to finish, on top of the last stitch here, make a half double crochet. So now I have 54 half double crochets for the neckline. Now for the second front panel, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to chain 1, and beginning here at the end of this row of the neckline, make a half double crochet. Now at the end of the next row, which is the first row of the yoke, make 2 half double crochets. At the end of the next, this is where we have the 2 chains. In that space, make 1. At the end of the next row, make 2. At the end of the next, 1, and so on. Here, the important thing is that you have the same number of stitches as you did for the first front panel. For me, I had 40, so I'm going to continue, and I'll meet you right here at the end of row 18 to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of the first row for the second front panel. Now here at the end, I'm going to make my last half double crochet. I have 40 half double crochets for this second front panel. Now for the second row, chain 1 and turn, beginning on top of the first stitch, make a half double crochet. Now starting from the second stitch here, I'm going to start with a front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet into the next, front post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how I'm going to continue for the second row. I will meet you up here at the end of the second row to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of the second row for the second front panel. Now here at the end, on top of the last stitch, make a half double crochet. I have 40 stitches. Now for row 3, chain 1 and turn, beginning on top of the first stitch, make a half double crochet. Now into the next, start with a front post half double crochet, next one back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how we're going to continue for the third row. Finish this row and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. I finished making the second front panel. Now here at the end of the third row of the second front panel, on top of the last stitch, I did a half double crochet. I have 40 stitches. So this completes this part. We have done both front panels and the neckline. Now we're going to continue here with the bottom part, and then we're going to separate the legs. So we're going to continue with the body. So this would be row 19, which I'm going to show you next. One thing, I'm going to show you how you're going to work this part, or how you're going to join the front panels if you're making this for boys. So first I'm going to show you if you're making this for boy, and then I'm going to continue with the girl version because that's what I'm doing here. So if you're making this for boy, this is what you're going to do. You're going to bring the second front panel on top of the first front panel. And now we're going to work row 19 from the wrong side. So hold both front panels like this. My loop is here at the end of the second front panel, and we're going to just go into this first row of the first front panel right here. At the end, we have the 2 chains. So insert your hook there and bring this loop through like this, and chain 2, 1 and 2. Now insert your hook back through this same stitch, the first stitch of row 1 for the first front panel, and through the third row of the second front panel right here at the very end along the very edge, and make a double crochet. There's a stitch, and now all we need to do is just continue with the pattern here. So beginning into the next stitch, which is this here, you can see both loops. Through the back loop only, insert your hook and make a double crochet. A double crochet through the back loop only into the next, and so on. Here we're going to continue with the pattern, and the pattern simply consists of making a double crochet through the back loop only. Row 19 is being worked on the wrong side, and that's how you're going to continue all around if you're making this for boys. Now for girls, it's the opposite. So I'm going to undo this, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this part for girls. So we have the second front panel. We're going to put this under the first front panel. So the first front panel goes on top of the second. Now I'm going to insert my hook again through this first row of the first front panel right there, and I'm going to bring this loop through. Make sure that the yarn here is on top. And chain 2. Now insert your hook back again through the second front panel at the end there, and through the first row of the first front panel. Grab a loop, bring it through, and make a double crochet. And now we have the first stitch here, and through the back loop make a double crochet. And that's how we're going to continue now. 1, double crochet through the back loop only of each one of the stitches from row 18. Continue like this all around. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of row 19. I have 97 double crochets up to here, including this one here that we did to join the front panels. Now to continue here, we need to make sure to join both front panels now. If you're making this for boy, it's probably going to look like this. I'm making mine for girls, so it looks like this. So now to continue here, I'm going to go into this last stitch right there through both loops, and I'm going to go through this stitch right there, the first stitch at the end of this front panel right there. I'm going to grab a loop and I'm going to make a double crochet. So that's 98, 99, 100 right there. Make sure you go through both of the front panels there and make your double crochet. So now I have 100 double crochets. To finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. Now this row is done. I have 100 stitches and both front panels are joined. Now for row 20, I'm going to make one more row. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn. Now beginning on top of the next, double crochet through the back loop only, make a double crochet into the next, making sure to always go through the back loop of each one of these stitches all around. Continue, finish row 20. I will meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of row 20. This row is being worked on the right side, and all I did was make double crochets all around through the back loop. Now here at the end, into this last stitch through the back loop only, I'm going to make my last double crochet. To finish the row, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish row 20 with a total of 100 stitches. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to separate the legs. I have placed some stitch markers. Now this is the front. For the front I have marked 6 stitches. So this is where I joined. So go back 2 stitches and then place a stitch marker. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then a stitch marker. This is the front. Now from this stitch marker to the next, I have marked 44 stitches. This is for the first leg. Then for the back side, I have marked 6 stitches, 2, 4, 6. Then from this stitch marker to the next, I have 44 stitches for the second leg. That's how we're going to separate the legs here. Now to do this part here, we're going to separate the legs first by separating here the crotch area. So to do this, I am going to chain 2 and turn. Remember that the chain 2s do not count in any of these rows that we have worked. Now beginning on top of the next double crochet, this one here through the back loop, I'm going to make a double crochet. Now this part here is being worked on the wrong side. Into the next, make a double crochet, making sure to go through the back loop. Now I'm going to chain 1 and skip 44 stitches for the first leg, and into the next double crochet after the stitch marker right here through the back loop, make a double crochet. Now I only chained 1 here, but if you want to add more chains to add to the leg measurement, you can. There's no stitch multiple, so you can add more chains if you like. For the size that I'm making, 1 chain is more than enough. Now here I'm going to make 1 double crochet for each one of these stitches. In the center there should be 6. That's 4, 5, and 6. And again, I made these through the back loop only. Now to separate the second leg, chain 1, skip 44 stitches, and into the stitch after the stitch marker through the back loop only, make a double crochet and finish the remaining 3. That's 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 stitches on this side, plus the 2 that we did at the beginning. That's 6 for the front. To finish, go on top of the first stitch right here and join with a slip stitch. Now cut your yarn and pass your yarn through this last loop. So this part here is done. We have separated the legs, and this is how it looks. Now we're going to start this leg here. This is the back side, so I'm going to go here to the left side, and this first row for the leg, we're going to work on the wrong side, this row. So insert your hook from the wrong side out into this chain space and grab a loop. Now make sure to leave a nice long tail, because once we're done, there's going to be a hole right here, and you're going to use this yarn to close the stitches. I'll show you that once this part here is done. So pull a loop through, chain 2, and make a double crochet into this same space here in the chain space. Now I'm going to double crochet 2 together because I don't want a gap between this double crochet here and the first one here for the leg. So I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to insert my hook into the space here of this double crochet. These are the 6 double crochets for the front, so in that space, insert your hook, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go on top of the first double crochet here out of the 44 for the leg, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. There's that double crochet 2 together, which only counts as 1 stitch. Now what I'm going to do is all around I'm going to make double crochets through the back loop only. This first row is being worked on the wrong side. Again, I'm going to continue with the pattern here. So continue like this until you come here to the last stitch. I will meet you right here to show you how we're going to finish this first row for the first leg. I'm here at the end of the first row for the first leg. Now here at the end I have the last double crochet out of the 44 that we left for the leg. Up to here I have 44 double crochets, including this one that we did in the chain space between the legs. Now to finish this row, I'm going to double crochet 2 together here at the end, just like I did for the beginning. I'm going to yarn over, insert your hook through the back loop of this last stitch, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, insert your hook in this space. This is the last double crochet of the 6 that we have for the front. Take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. Now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet, not the chains but the double crochet, and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the first row for the first leg with 45 double crochets. Now for row 2, I'm going to chain 2 and turn. From here on, since we're working in the round, we're going to chain 2 and turn. And beginning on top of the next double crochet, this one here, this is the double crochet 2 together stitch. On top of that stitch, make a double crochet through the back loop. This row, the second row, is being worked on the right side, and a double crochet on each one of these stitches all around through the back loop. At the end of this second row, I'm going to have 45 stitches. Continue, finish this row. I will meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the second row. I have 45 stitches. Now to finish, always go on top of the first stitch, not the chains, but on top of the first stitch, and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finish this row. From here on, we're just going to continue and repeat this row over and over. Remember to always turn. So here to start you off in row 3, chain 2 and turn, beginning on top of the next stitch, this first stitch right here. Make a double crochet through the back loop only, and a double crochet through the back loop only of each one of the double crochets all around. At the end of each row, you're going to have 45 stitches always, and you always join to the first stitch with a slip stitch, chain 2, turn, and then repeat the same thing. Now I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do here, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do, so I will meet you at the end of that row. I'm almost done with the leg. I have done a total of 11 rows. From here, up to here, there's 11 rows. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Row 11 was worked on the wrong side, and it's measuring from the first row, this here up to here. It's measuring about 12 centimeters, which is about 4.75 inches. Now, what I'm going to do next is optional. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down half a hook size, and this is just to shape the bottom of the leg. If you're making your little overalls using a different hook size, then just go down half a hook size from whichever hook size you started with at the beginning. So here for row 12, chain 2, turn, and beginning into the next double crochet, not this stitch here. This here is the slip stitch. That doesn't count. So into the next double crochet through the back loop, make a double crochet. Row 12 is being worked on the right side, and I'm going to continue and repeat the same thing we've been doing here for this part. The only difference is that I am using a slightly smaller hook size. So continue like this and continue watching, as I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do here for this part. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. Okay, I did a total of 3 more rows using the 3mm hook. So I'm at the end of row 14. I have 14 rows here for the leg. We have the first row, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I did 3 rows here using the 3mm hook. Now here at the end of row 14, I cut my yarn and passed my yarn through that last loop. This part here, from the first row, from right here up to the end of row 14, it's measuring about 15 centimeters, which is about 6 inches. If you want to make this part here longer, you can make more rows. That would be up to you. So now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make the bottom of the leg. I cut my yarn at the end of row 14. Row 14 was worked on the right side. So for the bottom of the leg, I'm going to change to the white yarn. This is optional. If you're not changing yarn color, then just go ahead, chain 1, and then make a front post half double crochet into the first double crochet, which is what I'm going to do. So here, pull a loop through. I'm going to continue with the 3mm hook as well. So chain 1, and here we're going to begin with a front post half double crochet, back post half double crochet into the next, front post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This here, it's the same thing we did for the front panels. The only thing is that we're working in the round and we don't need to turn anymore. So continue like this, just alternating between front posts and back post half double crochets. Now to finish this row, you're going to go here to the beginning, join with a slip stitch on top of the first stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing. You're going to work these stitches exactly how they are. The first one is a front post, so make a front post half double crochet. The next one back, front, and so on. I'm not sure how many rows I'm going to do here, but continue watching. I will let you know exactly how many rows I'm going to do. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end of that row. I finished making this part. I did a total of 5 rows. Now here at the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and passed my yarn through this last loop, and this leg is done. And this is how it looks. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing we did here for this side. We're going to do it here. I'm going to start you off. I'm going to show you row 1 and the beginning of row 2. So here to begin, we're going to go here to this other side, and right in the middle where we have the chain space here in between the legs, insert your hook. I'm using the 3.5mm hook. Bring a loop through and chain 2. 1, 2. Remember, the 2 chains never count. Now in this same space here, make a double crochet. This first row is being worked from the wrong side, just like we did for the other leg. Now we're going to double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, insert your hook here into this last double crochet of the 6 that we have for the back side. Yes, this is the back. And grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go into the first double crochet of the 44 that we left for the second leg, through the back loop, insert your hook there, and grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. There, we did double crochet 2 together here so that there's no gap between this stitch and the first. Now we're going to continue all around making double crochets and always going through the back loop only. Continue like this all around for this first row of the second leg. I will meet you here at the end to show you how we're going to finish this row. I'm here at the end of the first row for the second leg. Now up to here, I have a total of 44 double crochets, including this one that we did in the center. Now I still have one stitch left. So here at the end, we're going to double crochet two together. So yarn over, insert your hook into this last stitch through the back loop only, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, leave 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, go here at the end of the 6 stitches that we have here in the middle, grab a loop, take 2 loops off, 3 loops on the hook, close. And now to finish, go on top of the first double crochet and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the first row with 45 double crochets. From here on, you're just going to chain 2, turn, beginning into the first stitch, which is this here, not this stitch. This stitch here is the slip stitch that doesn't count. You're going to go on top of the first stitch. In this case, it's the double crochet two together. So through the back loop, insert your hook and make your double crochet, and into each one of these stitches through the back loop only, make 1 double crochet. Now here at the end, you're going to make your last stitch right here. This is the last stitch, so you're going to insert your hook through the back loop like this, make your last double crochet, and then to finish, join with a slip stitch here to the first double crochet, then chain 2, turn, and then repeat the same thing. It's exactly how we worked the first leg. You're going to do it exactly in the same way. For the leg here, we did a total of 11 rows using the 3.5mm hook, and then for 3 rows I switched to the 3mm hook and finished here with 5 rows of front post and back post half double crochets. You're going to do exactly the same thing for the second leg. So go ahead, finish the second leg, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to make the sleeves. I finished making the second leg. I did it exactly in the same way how I showed you with the first leg. So this part here is done. There is a gap here right in the center, but I'm going to show you once everything is done how to close that gap. So now what we're going to do next are the sleeves. I already went ahead and did this side. So when you do this side, you're going to do it exactly in the same way how I'm going to show you here. So to start here, with this sleeve, the first row is going to be worked from the wrong side. So we're going to turn this like this, and we're going to start right here, right under the sleeve. Remember that when we did the sleeve separation, we did 4 chains right here. And in the next row of the body, I did 8 double crochets. So we have the 8 double crochets right here. We have 2, 4, 6, 8. So right in the middle with 4 double crochets on either side, I'm going to insert my hook right there, right in the center, and I'm going to grab a loop here. This is with the 3.5mm hook. Bring this through, chain 2, remember the 2 chains never count, and right into this same space, make a double crochet. There. Now, I'm going to skip 2 double crochets, and right in between these double crochets, right in the middle right there, make a double crochet, skip 2 double crochets here, and right in the very corner before the first row of the body, so right here, make another double crochet. So here I have 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3. Now I have row 1 of the body at the end here. Into this space, make 2 double crochets. Now we have the 30 double crochets that were left for the sleeve. So through the back loop of the first, insert your hook and make a double crochet. And in each one of these double crochets all around, work a double crochet through the back loop only, like this. So continue like this all around. I will meet you here at the end to show you how we're going to finish this first row for this sleeve. I'm here at the end of the first row for this sleeve. Now up to here, which is the last double crochet of the 30 that we had left for the sleeve, I have 35 double crochets. 30 plus 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 35 double crochets up to here. Into this double crochet that's at the end, this is row 1 of the body, so right into that space, insert your hook and make 2 double crochets. Now I have the 4 double crochets that were left on this side. We have 2, 4. So right before the 4 stitches into this corner right there, I'm going to make a double crochet, and then I'm going to skip 2 double crochets, and in the middle make a double crochet. There. Now, there is no right or wrong way of doing this. The important thing is that you have 9 extra stitches here under the sleeve. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. The 2 chains do not count. Plus 30, that's 39 stitches. Now to finish, go on top of the first stitch and join with a slip stitch. And this is how I finished the first row for the sleeve with 39 stitches. Row 1 of the sleeve was worked on the wrong side. Now for row 2 and on, you're going to chain 2 and turn. From here on, we're going to continue with these 39 stitches, and you're going to turn for each row. So here to begin the second row, beginning into the first double crochet, this here, not this stitch here. This is the slip stitch. Remember, if you make a stitch right here, you're going to be adding stitches and your stitch count is going to be wrong. So beginning on top of the first double crochet through the back loop, make a double crochet, and 1 double crochet on each stitch through the back loop all around. At the end of this row, you're going to have 39 double crochets, and to finish, you're going to go here on top of the first double crochet right here, join with a slip stitch, chain 2, turn, and then repeat the same thing. And that's how we're going to continue for the rest of the sleeve. For the sleeve, we're going to do a total of 11 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 using the 3.5 millimeter hook. After row 11, you're going to switch to the 3 millimeter hook and make 3 rows. If you're using a different hook size to make this in a different size, just go down half a hook size from whichever hook size you started with at the beginning. And then we're going to continue and finish with the cuff. So in total for the sleeve, we're going to have 14 rows, and then we're going to make the cuff. So continue, finish this part here, and then I'll come back and show you how to make the cuff. I finished making this part. I did a total of 11 rows using the 3.5 millimeter hook, and then I switched to the 3 millimeter hook for 3 more rows. So that's a total of 14 rows for the sleeve. Now what we're going to do next is the cuff. So here to begin, I'm going to switch yarn colors. So at the end of row 14, I cut my yarn and pass my yarn through that last loop. So now we're going to attach the yarn to the same stitch that we joined into at the end of row 14, and I'm going to bring this loop through and chain 1. If you're not changing yarn color, then just go ahead and chain 1, but do not turn. The cuff will be worked on the right side. So here to begin, chain 1, and beginning with this first double crochet, make a front post half double crochet, into the next a back post half double crochet, front post half double crochet into the next, back post half double crochet into the next, and so on. This is how you're going to continue all around. Now when you finish here at the end, you're going to join with a slip stitch, chain 1, and then repeat the same thing. You're just going to work these stitches exactly how they are. Beginning with the first one, make a front post half double crochet, then back post, front, back post, and so on. It's the same thing we did here for the bottom of the leg. So continue, make a total of 4 rows here for this part. So go ahead and finish the cuff, and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. I finished making the cuff. I did 4 rows of front post and back post half double crochets. Here at the end, I just joined to the beginning with a slip stitch, cut my yarn, and passed my yarn through that last loop. So the sleeve is all done, and this is how it looks. Now, when you do this other side, you're going to do it exactly in the same way how I showed you here. Now, these little overalls are all done. You can leave them like this. All you need to do is just attach your buttons. Continue watching. I will give you the finished measurements, and then I'll let you know what size buttons I'm going to use for my little outfit here. Now, what I'm going to do next, it's optional. What I'm going to do here is a little trim going up the front panels around the neckline and then going down the second front panel. Again, this is optional, and I'm going to do it with this white yarn and the 3mm hook. So to do this, we're going to go right here. This is the front panel right here. This is the end. So right below we have the next row, the row where we joined the front panel. So insert your hook into that stitch, grab a loop, bring it through, and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now into the next stitch, this right here, not the front post half double crochet here. So the stitch before that, make a slip stitch, chain 3, skip the next stitch, and into the next, make a slip stitch, chain 3, skip the next stitch, and into the next, make a slip stitch. So basically here we're going to skip the front post, and into the next we're going to make our slip stitch. Again, this is optional. You can just add your buttons and this little outfit is all done. But I'm going to do this here all around. So 3 chains, skip 1 stitch, and into the next a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and into the next a slip stitch. Continue like this until you come here to the top of the neckline. I will meet you right here to show you how I'm going to work the neckline. I'm here at the top of the neckline. I have a total of 21 chain 3 spaces, just to give you an idea. Now around the neckline, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and into the next make a slip stitch. So same thing as we did for the front panel. Chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and into the next a slip stitch, chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and into the next a slip stitch. Continue like this all around. I'll meet you right here at this other end to show you how we're going to work the second front panel. I finished making the neckline. I have 29 of these chain 3 spaces. Again, if you have 1 or 2 stitches less or more, it's okay. Just continue. As long as it looks nice, go ahead and continue. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and into the next, make a slip stitch. Chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and into the next, make a slip stitch. This is the same thing we did for the first front panel. When you get here to the end, you're going to make your last slip stitch around here or here, it doesn't matter. Cut your yarn and then just pass your yarn through that last loop. I'm going to go ahead and finish this part, and then we'll come back and give you the finished measurements. I finished making the second front panel. Here at the end, I did my last slip stitch, cut my yarn, and passed my yarn through that last loop. So this part here is all done, and this is how it looks. Now let me show you how to close this gap that was left here in the center. So we need to find that tail end, not this one, but this one here. This one is right here at the very corner. So with a yarn needle, you can do this from the inside or you can do it from the outside or the right side. So I'm right here in this very corner, so I'm just going to go from this stitch to the next one here. Now into the next stitch, same thing. I think this is like a zigzag stitch. We're just going to close this gap. Here's the last stitch. Now you're just going to go through the inside and tie a little knot. There is no right or wrong way of doing this. The important thing is that you close this gap. There. I'm just going to hide my end afterwards. So let's see how this looks. Perfect. It's closed, and that's how it looks. So now let me give you the finished measurement, but first let me show you how it looks. So here's the front. I went ahead and attached my buttons. These buttons here are 14 millimeter size, but you can also use 13 or 15. So here's the front. These are the legs. Let's see the back side. This is the back and the legs. So now let me give you the finished measurements. So from the top of the neckline to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring about 27 centimeters, which is about 10.5 inches. From under the sleeve to the end of the sleeve, it's measuring about 15.5 centimeters, which is about 6 inches. From under the sleeve to the end of the leg, it's measuring about 39.5 centimeters, which is about 15.5 inches. And I almost forgot the width of the sleeve, just the top, it's measuring about 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches. And the yoke, this part here right across, it's measuring about 13 centimeters, which is about 5.25 inches. Now, let's see this measurement from the neckline to the crutch here, it's measuring about 30.5 centimeters, which is about 12 inches. Now the leg length from here to here, it's measuring about 17 centimeters, which is about 6.75 inches. And let's see the width of the leg, just the top, it's about 11 centimeters, which is about 4.5 inches. And now the chest measurement, just the top, it's about 26 centimeters, which is about 10.25 inches. Now the neckline all around finished, it's measuring about 24 centimeters, which is about 9.5 inches. So based on these measurements, these little overalls, bodysuit, onesie, or romper is for little girls between 3 and 6 months old. You can make it for boys. The only difference is how you attach or join the front panels, which I show you that in the tutorial. Now you can easily make it smaller or bigger as well, from a newborn size and up to 3 to 4 years old. In the information box below, I'll go ahead and leave you some information on how you can easily make it smaller or bigger. Also in the information box, I'll go ahead and leave you links to baby hats and baby booties that you can make to match the little overalls. So make sure to look there. And as always, if you prefer a written pattern, check out my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link to my Etsy shop in the information box and up here on the right hand side. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, so this was today's tutorial. I hope you like it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.